Hello everybody, welcome back. I'm Inside Elections. The date is Friday, February 13th, 2026, and today we're going to be talking about the state of Minnesota and why it is looking increasingly worse for the Republican Party ahead of the 2026 midterms, when in theory, I cannot stress this enough, in theory it should be looking good for the Republican Party ahead of the 2026 midterms compared to the overall country and compared to the country as a whole. And I'm going to kind of dive into that a little bit. So that's what we're going to do in today's video. I'm just going to talk about the state of Minnesota and why it's looking very good, increasingly good for the Democratic Party when it should be looking good for the Republican Party. So I want to start out here with this poll. And as you most likely know, Tim Walz, after alleged fraud, welfare fraud in the state of Minnesota, he's stepping down. He's retiring. He's stepping down from governor of the state of Minnesota. And Amy Klobuchar, the former senator, the current senator, soon to be former senator from the state of Minnesota, is stepping up to take his spot to run for Minnesota governor. And now in 2024, and now she is a popular senator. She will be a popular governor. In 2024, she won this race by 16 points on the same exact ballot where Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, the governor of the state of Minnesota, were winning the state by 4 points. It was a state that was closer than Arizona. It was a state that was almost on par with the state of North Carolina. It only voted 1 point to the left of a swing state. It voted to the right of one swing state. It is a state that should, in theory, be trending good for the Republican Party. Like I said, with Tim Walz on the ballot, who at the time was a very, very popular governor, now not so much after these alleged fraud scandals. I actually don't know his approval rating. I don't know if there are any approval ratings of him. I don't have them up, unfortunately, but at the time, he was a very popular governor, and on that same ballot, Kamala Harris and him were only winning the state of Minnesota by 2 singular points. And like I said, on the same ballot, Amy Klobuchar, not House, Amy Klobuchar, was winning the state by 16. She is a popular senator, and she is running, now that Tim Walz is retiring, for governor of the state of Minnesota, of course, and she is looking very, very good. This is just one singular poll. She's up against Mike Lindell, the current Republican frontrunner in the state of Minnesota. He has Donald Trump's endorsement, and she is leading Mike Lindell by 22 points. Yes, 22 points in a state that Kamala Harris only won by 4.2 points. That was a close state in the 2024 presidential election, is now shaping to be a state that votes to the left of California on the governor's level because Tim Walz is retiring, because Amy Klobuchar is running for governor in this state. Once again, a state that only voted for Kamala Harris by 4 points is set to vote to the left of California. And now, yes, this means that her Senate seat will be up for special election in 2026. Yeah, special election in 2026. And that is looking no better for Republicans than the governor's races. Okay, maybe it's looking a little bit better for Republicans on the Senate level, but still not great whatsoever. I think it's Penny Flood. Hold on, let me find it. I should have this already. Peggy Flanagan is, I actually don't know who's leading. Oh yeah, Peggy Flanagan is leading in this Senate primary for the state of Minnesota. She's leading by roughly 10 points. Some polls, this one for instance, has it a closer race, but she's most likely going to cruise to be the Democratic nominee in the state of Minnesota, and is going to go on to win the state of Minnesota on the Senate level by, honestly, it's most likely that similar margin to how much Amy Klobuchar won the state of Minnesota in 2024, which 16 points. Maybe it won't be that blue because Amy Klobuchar was such a great candidate, Royce White was such a bad candidate, but Peggy Flanagan is a pretty strong candidate. She's a progressive candidate. She's a pretty progressive left candidate, and she's set to cruise to victory easily in the 2026 midterms. The actual polls that we have show the state. Where is it? Okay, well, we actually don't have any polls with. Oh yeah, we do. Okay, Peggy Flanagan leads Michael Tafoya. I'm sorry Michelle Tafoya, sorry, by roughly by like roughly 5 points, 7 points. She's going to Peggy Flanagan is going to win this race, and this is just so early. She has just jumped into this race. Tim Walz only announced his retirement roughly a month ago. Amy Klobuchar only jumped into this race a few days ago, maybe a week ago, 2 weeks ago. I don't know. My time is completely off course, but the point is she is very new to the Senate race, and her numbers are only going to expand. Peggy Flanagan's, that is, not Amy Klobuchar. Her numbers are only going to expand. She's going to win this Senate seat in the state of Minnesota by a very, very large margin. And that is because, how do I put this? Actually, she's going to win the seat by a large margin. The governor's race is going to go to the Democratic Party by a large margin. And it's not just that. This poll is, I believe it's the only poll out of the Minnesota House. Not this one. This one out of the Minnesota House, Minnesota's first district. This was a House seat that went to the Republican candidate by 17 points. Minnesota's first. It went to Finstan. What's his full name? I actually don't know that. I'm sorry. Minnesota's first went to the Republican candidate by 17 points. In this poll, the only poll we have out of this district, the only poll we have out of any Minnesota House district, I believe, shows the Republican candidate only up by 3 points. 3 points in a seat that they won by 17 just 2 years prior. So what we're seeing is that on the Senate level, Democrats are set to win this race by a large margin. On the governor's race, they're set to win this race by 20 plus points. Even in deep red House districts, Democrats are set to come close to winning these. Now, yes, this is a Democratic internal poll, but it's the only poll we have, and even a Democratic internal poll showing this race within 3 points, most likely it's going to be within maybe, even if this race was actually within 10 points, that would still mark a very large shift to the Democratic Party in the midterms, which if it resulted nationwide, which I don't understand why it would not, this would result in a blue tsunami for the Democratic Party. Take that, what I said, say this poll was wrong by 10 points. That would mean that the Republican candidate wins this race by, what was it? That would mean he wins this race by 13 points, which would mean a 4-point shift to the left. Now, a 4-point shift to the left, yes, you might say, okay, well, it's going to be more than that. For argument's sake, let's say it was only a 4-point shift left. When in 2018, the shift left was actually 9 points, 9.6, 10 points actually. But let me show you what would happen if they shifted left by only 4 points. 1, 2, 3, 4. Democrats would win the House majority and would have a 23 seat House majority. Now, if this actual poll was correct, if the Democrat overperforms his 2024 margin by 13 points, let me show you what that would look like. 5, 10, 1, 2, 3. That would result in this House margin. Yes. What is that? That is a 63 House majority for the Democratic Party. That'll be the largest House majority we've seen for the Democratic Party since 2018. The last time it was a blue wave, the last time during a Donald Trump midterm. Okay, I know I'm getting away from the main point. The main point of this video is that Democrats are looking very well in the state of Minnesota when what the data is telling us is saying that they should not be doing well. This is a state that narrowed up to less than a swing state in 2024, but now Democrats are set to win the governor's mansion after a pretty large fraud scandal from the governor's mansion in this state. Democrats are set to to hold the seat by over 20 points. And yes, this is one singular event, but multiple singular events, like we're seeing nationwide, are going to result in a very, very good environment for the Democratic Party in 2026. And this seat, this poll, this Minnesota governor seat, this Minnesota Senate seat, this Minnesota House seat are signaling, like I said, a very good sign for the Democratic Party ahead of the 2026 midterms. So that's my thoughts on this. I just kind of want to bring this news to you. It's not really breaking news. It's just kind of my thoughts on this. What do you think? What are your thoughts? I encourage you to comment your thoughts in the comments, to comment suggestions for video ideas, to like this video. If you enjoyed the video, to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm able to let you news every single day. And yeah, have a great day.